My journey started like any other, interrupted by Hop. His brother Leon then arrived home from his champion duties and gives me one of 3 Pokemon. Me, being an American, I obviously choose the Gun Lizard and name him Neptune, who then guns down Hop's Wooloo and Scorbunny. I then meet Sonia, who tells me about the Pokedex and other important things, and on my way to the professor, I find myself a fat squirrel I named Gluttony and a Rookity named Athena. Then my Sobble guns down Hop's Pokemon again, which really shows me how weak Hop is in hindsight, when I then find a Barboach named Medusa in the wild area, a wondrous place of wild Pokemon. Oh, and I turn around to see Neptune had gunned down a bunch of Pokemon to evolve into Drizzle. At Motostoke, I'm greeted by Leon and Sonia, where I register into the gym challenge of Galar. I then stumbled upon a beach Magikarp I named Leviathan, and then Neptune guns down Hop's Pokemon for a third time. Third time's the charm, I guess. Entering Route 3, a Glossifleur flies into my face, and I name him Hermes. And when I turn around, I see Athena, now a Corvisquire, surrounded by the corpses of the Gossifleurs she murdered in order to evolve. I then go into the Galar mine, where I steal a rock that turns out to be a really coolie that I name Hephaestus, and then I meet Bede, a stuck-up little prick who was saying he was better than me or something. I don't remember, since when I turned around, Neptune had already gunned down his mons too. On Route 4, I'm attacked as in nuzzled by a Yamper I named Zeus, and then I meet with Sonia. Sonia tells me of the Darkest Day, a time in Galar where a massive Pokemon was destroying the lands, when 2 heroes of legend defeated this creature. I then do the Wooloo run for the first gym's gym challenge, when Hermes is taken down by one of the gym mission trainers. I then reach Milo, where Medusa is defeated by his Gossifleur, and Athena is taken down by his Eldegoss. Then Hephaestus steps in and takes out the Eldegoss, winning the first badge. I then go into Route 5, where Hephaestus evolves into Karkle. Then I detour into the nursery, where I'm gifted a Toxel I named Hera, and a Drifloon who tries to kidnap me, but I catch them instead, naming them Hell. At the end of Route 5, I find a nurse being bullied by some fat kids, so my team beats the shit out of them, and the nurse is kind enough to give me a Rotom bike for helping him. I then run into Hop, who is quickly dealt with again. I arrive in Holbury, and decide to take a fishing break. I reel in an Arrokuda I named Perseus, and Zeus evolves into Boltund in preparation for Nessa, while Leviathan evolves into Gyarados, since she was too weak to protect the others previously. We then reach the second gym against Nessa. Zeus decimates the gym challenge in Nessa's Dreadnought, winning the second badge. I'm then invited to an awkward dinner with Sonia and Chairman Rose before I bolt to the Galar mine, the second one, where inside I find a Scraggy I named Hestia. When I'm stopped by Bede, who's going on and on about how he's so special because he was chosen by the chairman, but then he stops as he sees his team defeated by Zeus and Neptune. I then arrive at Motostock outskirts, where I named a Noctowl Odin, before preparing for my fight against Kabu, the third gym leader. I am then met by an emo girl named Marnie at the Budu Inn, and I fight her. Her Croagunk lands a nasty revenge and takes out Hephaestus. And Zeus, out of pure rage, unleashes his wrath on the rest of her Pokemon. At the third gym, I catch a Litwick I named Pluto in the gym challenge. At the gym fight, Leviathan makes quick work of his Ninetales and Arcanine. Then, Neptune fights his Gigantamax Centiskorch, ultimately coming out on top, winning the third gym badge. Entering the second, stronger area of the wild area, Hera evolves into Toxtricity. Out of rage, Neptune trains himself and evolves into Inteleon. And at Hammerlock, I meet with Sonia, where she tells me about the tapestries telling of the legendary heroes of Galar. When I manage to accidentally catch a snippet of Rose's plans to fuel Galar with power for years. I then arrive at Route 6, where I help a silly cobra that's being harassed by the fat kids who harassed the nurse that gave me the Rotom bike. I then find a Galarian mask I named Ra. During a moment where I was exploring the wild area, Ra evolved into a Rhinoragus. Then, while camping in the wild area, Neptune tries to fight a way too strong Golurk and is knocked out. Then, while we're all sulking around camp and I was helping Neptune recover from his defeat, a Golurk wandered in shyly and gave us a flower to apologize for what the Golurk did, joining the team. I then run into Bede again, where during the fight, Al was brought to low HP and evolved mid-fight in Golurk in order to win. Then Al, my Golurk, steamrolls Hop's team. Then Opal just casually hands me Bede's trainer card. I then take on B, where Hesiod is taken down by a revenge from Sirfetch'd, while Zeus decimates the rest of B's team, winning the 4th gem. I then meet up with Sonia when we hear an explosion from nearby, when we see B destroy a national landmark with a Kaparaja, revealing the statue of Zacian and Zamazenta, shocking both me and Sonia. I then defeat Bede before Rose takes him out of the gym challenge, absolutely crushing him, but ultimately it was the consequence of his actions. I go into the Glenwood Tangle, where I find a Morgrim I name Loki, before steamrolling Opal's team with Al, easily getting the 5th gym badge. Marnie gives me her lead card, and arriving back in Hammerlock, I watch as Opal recruits B to her gym. That old lady really freaks me out. On Route 7, Hob challenges me to a fight and brings Leviathan to 1 HP, when Alphonse comes in and steamrolls the battle. Gym 6 is easily taken down by Al. I have lunch with Sonia and Hop discussing the statues revealed by Bede and their correlation to all the other things we found related to the legends and what they could possibly mean, before I head over to fight Hop, where he really takes revenge, taking out Loki with a drill peck from Corvid Knight, but ultimately Zeus wins. On Route 9, I stumble upon a gastrodon hiding in the grass I named Beef, and a Bergmite that just kind of followed me in that I named Achilles. Then I help the nurse against the fat kids again, and he gives me the water rotom bike, so now my bike is Jesus. Achilles evolves into an Avalok, where he easily takes out Marnie's team with Zeus, who gets revenge for Hephaestus, a revenge that's been brewing in that dog's head for a while now. Then in Spikemuth, I take on Marnie's older brother, when his Obstagoon took out Zeus with a throat chop, enraging Hera to destroy his team, winning us the 7th badge. At Gym 8, I take some hits, losing Achilles to his Turtonator and Hera to his Sandaconda, with Alphonse ultimately winning, defeating Raihan. I go to Route 10, where I catch a Snover I name Persephone, and while fighting my way up the route to get to Wyndon, Leviathan is taken out by Heliolisk, and Perseus evolves into Barraskewda and defeats the same Heliolisk. Then at Wyndon, I enter the Elite Four. I take on Marnie with Alphonse, defeating her Grimmsnarl. Then I defeat Hop with Barraskewda, taking out his Cinderace. Then I take a break for the day. When I go to see Rose, Secretary Olianka fights me, and I defeat her Gigantamax Garbodor. While I catch Rose and Leon talking about Rose's plans to awake the creature that caused the darkest day all those years ago. I luckily managed to get out before being spotted by Rose and prepare to finish battling the Elite Four the next day. My third Elite Four fight is against Bede. I thought he was kicked out and recruited by Opal. His Heteran defeats Perseus with a Max Mindstorm, but Alphonse manages to take the rest of his team down. I'm then right up against Raihan, who Alphonse has a clear vendetta against, and decimates his team. Then as I shook hands with Raihan, the ground shook, as pillars of Dynamax light rose all across Galar, and a broadcast from Rose shocked us all. I, Chairman Rose, have the announcement of the century. For years, Galar has been inching to a power crisis, and I have found the solution. I have awoken the darkest day, and shall grant enough power for decades to come. Galar will be great once more. Me and Hop rush to the slumbering wields after Sonia told us to go there. We then find the rusted sword and shield from Legends, so we take them to Wyndon. Hop runs ahead and leaves me to handle Rose, where Pluto melts all of Rose's steel types. Me and Hop then find Eternatus, which grows into Eternamax Eternatus, a giant hand coming down from the sky above. We then use the rusted sword and shield to call upon the legendary dogs Zacian and Zamazenta and defeat Eternatus with their help. I then fight Leon. Persephone takes out 2 of his team members before Pluto takes out the other 2, ending with Ra taking out his Rillaboom and Al ultimately defeating his Charizard. And out of respect, Leon shakes my hand as I am announced champion of Galar. My final team being Alphonse the Goaler, Ra the Runerigus, Pluto the Chandelure, Zeus the Bolton, Hera the Toxtricity, and Neptune the Inteleon. If you liked the video, make sure to like and subscribe for more.